could tell a lot by a city by just reading the walls. I find beauty in that place, that just urban dystopia that's completely kind of crumbled. At the same time, there's movement, there's story, there's presence, and it's all left behind with the structures that are built, with the names that are written, with the buff that's layered. I mean, just one wall you paint, that wall could have been buffed in the last 20 years 10,000 times if you think about it. You're like, oh shit.
As far as the West Coast is concerned, he's produced like probably, 4 or 5 of the like 10 most monumental pieces of works of graffiti. Things like the bridge on the 5 for GK, that MSK billboard right there by the Capitol Records building in Hollywood. Those things were just like colossal.
For the 90s, it was the war on drugs, so I mean, everything was really intense and everything was criminalized. Everywhere you went, there was a sense of you're doing something wrong and there's danger.
The police approach black men as criminals first.
The CIA unintentionally pumped crack cocaine into Los Angeles.
This earthquake this morning in Southern California has become deadly.
I have never ever seen anything like this,
and violence were widespread.
The liquor store has been looted.
I have committed these troops to help restore order.
93, 94, 95, it was like a little golden era of LA because it was so insane. And you had all these key players finally starting to climb. You're getting heavens. You're getting razor wire starting to put up. You're getting the first cameras put up.
Looking for the hardest place for the city to reach so they're not able to buff your name.
Your biggest enemy at night is the police helicopter. When you look at the police helicopter at night and you look at it in long exposure, it kind of turns into this UFO-esque type thing. Really is a close encounter because you really could get abducted. That dude's out there to abduct your ass. That's why he's fucking circling. So at the end of the day, they are close encounters, and they're close
for those.
Yes.
Remember, he had every urinal from every Denny's you ever went into. There would be a fin on the urinal. There probably are still some there.
Yes.
And he since his like it wants nothing to do with graffiti.
Right.
Like legendary graffiti writer, in my opinion. It doesn't want anything to do with it.
He had a weak bladder, and he just had he decided to make use of the time of taking a leak.
But he was out and about in the city. Is there any like deep cut writers where you're like, fuck that dude? That dude was the king of such and such.
Oh God, such and that's a tough one because it's such a wide spectrum, and my memory's really foggy right now.
Your memory's foggy, okay.
As far as specifics. How I can trigger memory is definitely talking about stories.
Stories. Well,
what was prolific? Just Dreads. Those were very prolific.
Yeah. Just Dreads were prolific. Yeah.
Fuck. Jero pulled a shotgun on us once at the MYL meeting.
Jero did?
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah.
What's NYL?
That was before
the whole ICR. AWR link up, right?
Yeah.
That was like that. There was
pre that.
Remember that whole thing? Remember there was like this weird thing where like we just like the two crews just like connected.
Yeah.
And then we're like, now we're like one crew. It was like, what the fuck was that? That was.
I got some gnarly stories.
I know you do, dude.
And I don't know if we should get into some of them because it might implicate some people into some bad things.
We can't snitch on anybody. And I'm almost like, can I talk freely about shit?
What can we talk freely? That's why we're a little like guarded.
No, we can talk about anything. We just can't say names. We can't paint any crimes on anybody.
But we don't want to paint such a bad picture.
It's not a bad
picture.
That
we did.
It wasn't a bad picture, but it was. But listen, it was part of the deal. There was a crime. There was a criminal element. Not as bad as some. We weren't driving around shooting people. But like there was an element.
Well, who are you? Depends on who you're talking to.
Okay, some people were.
I mean,
you and I were not.
No, but I saw some things, and
you saw. I know you saw a lot of shit. You saw a lot. There's so many things. Listen. This is perfect.
I had a drive-by at my house in Thousand Oaks that made the front page news, and that was ICR meets Old Crew in 805, and I threw a party, and Casey and everyone else found out about it and drove to 805 with ICR, and I was banging some girl, and in my mom's closet, and I was too afraid of what was going on in the living room in 805. And then all of a sudden I heard all this ruckus, and then Casey and ICR were beating the fuck out of my old friends.
Wait, it was guys from your old crew had beef with ICR.
They didn't even know what ICR was. They were 805. This was like the one link with Bless and I.
Wait,
and our weird little crew.
That crew was what was that?
It was called JR23 or some weird shit. I don't even remember what it stood for.
And why were they beefing with ICR?
They didn't. They just showed up to my house.
Who, the crew did?
The crew and Casey and them showed up to the house,
right?
Finding out that my parents were out of town. So,
they're like, "Hey, fool, Saber's parents are out of town."
Yeah. This fool is, hey, go to. We're going at 8:05 tonight. Let's go, everyone, go.
Right.
So all these maniacs showed up to my house that I looked up to, so I couldn't say no to any of these guys.
But you're already in the crew at this point, right?
Not yet.
Oh, this is before. Really?
Yeah, it was like right then. It was like right when I had to make.
But Casey was already hanging out with them before you got in.
Yeah, he knew ICR. He knew.
Oh, okay. Weird. I guess my timeline might be fucked up too. One of us has got a foggy timeline, and I could be just.
Well, we both have reasons why we have foggy timelines.
True.
So I heard all this ruckus.
Yeah.
And they were just beating the fuck out of these kids.
Yeah.
So I tried to separate it, and then they ran off, and then an hour later came back, and then jumped out their car and just started shooting at my house. And shot Keen in the foot.
Oh, that's right. I remember
and then Keen got shot in the foot, but he had steel toes on, so it bounced off his foot and like broke his toe. So of course this is 8:05. So every single sheriff and fucking cop was at my house within 2 minutes, including the news. So they had to sort all this shit out, and then.
But Keen wasn't from ICR at that point, right?
Yeah, he was like, I guess, I don't know, UFK, ICR.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
we need a fact checker. We need a graffiti fact checker to come on here. And
this was like,
our shit, we're gonna get in fucking trouble with this shit.
Oh my god! So my parents were out of town.
Yeah,
my house was destroyed. There was a shooting at my house.
That's crazy.
My old friends now wanted to kill me.
Right. Because they thought you set them up, of course.
Something like that.
It definitely looks that way.
And then ICR, someone from ICR got shot in the foot. So my parents come home from vacation. I clean the house.
They're like, we're in the fucking suburbs. We're trying not to see this shit.
I didn't know what to do. So all I could do was just leave the front page news just on the table for my parents.
That's how you broke it to them.
I didn't have any other way. So I couldn't hide it.
Oh my God, dude.
So I just left the newspaper on the living room table and just went into my bedroom and closed the door when I came home. And
how old were you at that point? Still a teenager?
By 16.
Oh my God, dude. Listen, guys, don't raise your kids in the suburbs. It's not safe. The burbs are not safe.
Oh my God.
They get into the most trouble. Suburban kids are so fucking nuts. They're so crazy. Like, we have a normal level of crazy in the city, but suburban kids are extra because they're like, they go fucking crazy. They go in these directions. They start it's like there's no, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they don't. It's not.
Well, we're trying too hard and we're a little bored.
And it's like you don't know the rules, so they're making shit up as they go along, like about what street life is, and they're just going crazy. And they're like, "Dude, they just cut this kid's toe off. Nobody does that." You know, like just like what the fuck is going on? Like they're on some other shit. You know, like don't grow up in the suburbs. If you're in the suburbs, move into the shittiest part of the city as soon as you can to see the reality of it.
Yeah.
Don't make your own. Don't make it up as you go along, everybody. Okay.
Oh, fuck. So I got in trouble.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then what?
So I just went with it.
Fuck.
What do they do?
Well, then the guys were like, "We're gonna kill you."
Yeah.
So I just said sorry as much as I could.
So this is okay. I understand what this is.
And then somebody came to my house. A group of guys a week later came to my house during a dinner.
Yeah.
And kicked in my front door. So my mom's answering the door, and they kicked down the whole front door like a fucking SWAT team. And it was some other dudes. I don't even know who the fuck they were.
You just brought so much beef.
And I just came home and I was like, "What happened?" And they're like, all these crazy guys showed up and kicked in your door. And I was like,
"They're like, what?"
I don't even know who they are.
And you're like, "Mom, I'm just getting started. I'm only 16."
Oh, I just was getting started.
I'm just figuring it out right now. Like,
I'm lucky to be.
Bitch, you a bitch, homie. Like
it was just
that was an era. Like you a bitch. Like, oh hell, I ain't gonna be no bitch.
You had to fight immediately.
Yeah.
It was like so. I got good at fighting. I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was good at boxing. I was really good at boxing.
Yeah.
I was good at fighting. My first real fight that I got into where I actually got injured.
Yeah.
I think was in 4th grade. Like I got a bad head injury then too.
Oh wow.
Like a concussion for sure.
Fuck.
This other kid set this shit up, and then me and this other, the first Armenian kid in Glendale. Me and the first Armenian kid in Glendale.
Yeah.
This other dude set us up. This
4th
poor
grade.
fucking kid couldn't even speak English. He was like escaping some fucking genocide.
Right.
I don't even know. I don't know
Right.
any of this shit. And he set us up to fight.
4th grade, you were at 10, 12? What is that?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
And
yeah.
then it was a bad fight. And he got a nasty black eye. I fucked his eye up, and then I smacked my head really bad. And that was
on the concrete?
On the concrete.
You know,
and then we became friends, and then we were
Of
like
course,
buddies
classic.
afterwards, you know? Like
They say that these head injuries that people sustain, they say most serial killers have a traumatic head injury in their past because it really kicks something loose. And I think once you get a head injury, I think it really can it can change your life path in a major way. And it probably did for you.
Well,
Right.
it was a culmination of many things, I think.
Culmination, right.
And I think, you know,
perfect storm.
I love getting high.
Right.
Like I like doing drugs.
Right.
I like the intensity of being in ultimate situations.
Right.
So picture this moment, me and GK.
Yeah.
This little motherfucker, dude, he's the most maniacal
He's a maniac.
fucker there is, dude.
Yeah,
nobody realized how insane he truly is. Like he really is.
Yeah, we were talking about on the last show where he would drive into hoods and be like, hey, fuck. Like he'd drive into someone's neighborhood and be like, you know, Diamond Street or something, be like, hey, fuck you, fool. And like
Just to
wait for them to
spark
catch up and drive away and be like, yo, like, what the fuck are you doing? You
I mean,
know?
he was willing to go to prison, and he went for it for
Yeah.
graffiti. And he went to prison for graffiti, like one of the first to do prison time for graffiti.
Yeah.
But 5 freeway bridge. Okay, nobody had done this before. Upside down, hangover,
Yeah.
block letters,
Oh, yeah.
hanging over the freeway trestle, roller upside down, but then to crawl out and then outline it.
Yeah.
And nobody had outlined the rollers on the outside of a bridge
Yeah.
before. So I remember picking up GK in Calabasas.
Yeah.
And I remember I was looking up at him in his window, and I'm like, let's go, let's go. And he's like, I got a fever.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't feel good. I can't do it. And I'm like, we have to do it. We have to do it.
You have to do it.
And he's like, I got a fever, bro. It's at 100 and something right now. I'm like, we got to do it. We got to do it. And he's like, fuck it, fine. So I remember that night he was sick. He was pale. He was sweaty. He did not feel good. And he had a fucking fever. And we were like, let's go. So we go. And this is the fucking 5 and the 110 freeway trestle. It's in the back of people's minds in the city of Los Angeles, it's an iconic piece of furniture in the sense that you don't know it's there until you acknowledge it your whole life. To be like, oh shit, I've been looking at that thing, you know, my entire life.
Totally.
It's just sitting there.
Yep.
So it's a major piece of real estate.
Right.
And it's a felony to do this shit.
Yeah.
So we're out there, we're painting this thing upside down and backwards. My roller keeps breaking. So my fucking roller keeps falling off as I'm doing it. So I had to keep crawling down and then fucking picking up the roller on the moving freeway.
Every story of you painting involves equipment breaking. Every time. Cans exploding, rollers breaking.
Oh, God. Fuck. So we're dodging traffic. As we're doing this major illegal piece of graffiti, kept going back up. I had to keep lifting myself up. So every time I lift myself up on the freeway trestle, I kept getting these bruises all over my body.
Right.
But I was covered in poison ivy.
Of course.
All over my cock, my fucking dick, everything. My legs were rotten with poison oak or ivy because the week before I crawled up the whole mountain on the side of the Dodger Stadium with David Cho through the bushes, through all the shit, straight up the mountain just to do it.
No.
And we just did it. Like, you know, fucking Black Widow bite and all sorts of shit. So my whole body was rotten with like this fucking covered in poison oak.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. It was like,
what did you paint with David Cho?
A couple of different times. I knew him early on. Like,
what did you guys paint? Like he would paint
the
like
top, that wall.
But you would do letters and he would do a character?
Yeah, if I recall.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember what he painted.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. It was more about just climbing it. The mountain.
It's more about like that dude's like an explorer. He's like trying to find dinosaurs in Africa and shit. Like
I've traveled the world with him a couple places.
Yeah.
He's a wild dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. So the 5 freeway. So Yeah, I think I almost died like maybe 7 or 8 times that night trying to complete that thing.
Insane.
And he went to jail for that piece.
He did?
Yeah.
Why? Later on.
Later on, they used that piece against him.
They used it against him.
As one of the felonies. Yeah, and it sat there for 10 years. And then his got buffed, and then mine sat there for so long. Oh, my God. And then one time he was on the freeway. A semi-truck blew up underneath it.
Yeah.
And the whole bridge was on fire.
Yeah.
And so they used the opportunity at that time because the freeway was shut down to hire some, if I recall, to bring this special graffiti buff reconnaissance team from Seattle to buff the bridge so that they can extra charge GK on that particular one to make his case that much more against him. I could be making all this shit up in my head. I don't fucking know.
It sounds really cool.
But I do recall some sort of weird team being flown in from Seattle to like buff just him. And then they left mine up. So mine sat there for like another 5 years. Like,
fuck. That shit was legendary. Who was the
I
kid?
even took a selfie out there on the daytime. I have it on my phone where
You
I
do?
climbed out there with this Japanese kid.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my old Japanese homies in Glendale had a Japanese foreign exchange student staying with him.
Yeah.
So I said, I need a ride. So he couldn't speak. You guy, fuck you.
They don't want you to know this.
Guys, this insurance company Auto is the real deal.
Want to ensure your house doesn't get robbed while you're out? Need to keep an eye on your pets or kids while you're at work?
Yeah, and nothing. And I had a whole room. I think it was everyone. It was like the whole crew or some shit. And I just pulled all the gauze out of my stomach, and it was smelled so bad it cleared the room, dude. The fucking rot in my stomach was just like, it was a bad smell. It was not a good smell. I actually had a hard time with the smell.
Oh, it's terrible. SABER. It's just terrible. It's just a terrible.
It took 3 months to heal from the inside out. At first, my old lady had to stuff it, and she passed out in the fucking shower trying to stuff it.
Oh,
because she had to use her finger and she couldn't go far enough. So I had to get a pen. I used to stuff this shit with a pen because I had to go far enough all the way up in it.
I told you guys he was crazy.
I like it. It's fun. It was a good story. I didn't die. It didn't actually hurt.
It didn't hurt.
I wasn't in pain.
I mean, where do you find the thing is when you impale yourself on a spiked fence? How do you find the strength to do essentially kind of like a?
Well, it's just a reaction.
It's just like adrenaline, right? You're like, and then you're like, fuck.
And then I saw all this white shit coming out me.
Oh, god damn it!
Which was, it looked like cottage cheese.
No, blah blah blah.
So it was like you took it and just like what? You took my stomach and just went burp and just like separated against my stomach lining. That was a good one.
Oh, the human.
And so I went back and then I cut the spike off.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the spike. I'm like, well, if I fell on this shit, I want it. So then I made like a little plaque to like the whole. Oh, and the ER let me keep the Polaroid. So I was like, this is cool. Yeah. And he was an asshole. He made me wait an extra 20 hours.
20 hours?
They wouldn't. They were like, he was a dick. He was like, I'm gonna make you wait just because I know you're an asshole and I know you got that injury being an asshole. So he made me wait. So me and this other dude whose hand was cut in half.
Yeah.
This poor bastard. And so we just chain smoked out in front of the ER until we got called, which took 20 hours.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. And still back out at it.
I was at it like.
You were unstoppable at that point. I remember the fever with which...
That was more to make me do more.
Yeah.
I was like,
nothing fucking like... Dude, I
would say even at this point, there's nothing that's stopping me.
Right.
Other than knowing the responsibilities that I have.
You have kids.
But I'm still doing fire extinguisher tags. I'm still doing giant illegal fire extinguisher tags.
Shit.
I've done at least 10 of them.
No.
The last one caught on fire in Miami. I did one in Miami on this tent, and then we discovered the secret fucking multi-million-dollar speedboat that somebody spray painted. Eat the rich. So I was like, this is a perfect spot to hit. So I hit.
And speedboat?
No, the tent that was one of the art fairs that was left behind.
Oh yeah.
That someone was stashing a speedboat.
Oh okay.
So and there was needles everywhere. It was a nice fucking speedboat. And so I hit that and 3 weeks later, somebody lit the speedboat on fire.
No shit.
And so it made the news.
You're a fucking maniac. That's the thing. Like once you get to a certain level of graffiti, you can like never quit.
I have issues. And this is how I deal with my issues, is trying to be productive.
Right.
as a citizen. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
Right.
There are ethics behind this.
Right.
I choose to do things that I know aren't going to necessarily hurt anybody, that I know are going to get buffed immediately.
Right.
And who gives a fuck? I need to do goddamn something. And if I don't, I'm going to go fucking crazy. I'm going to lose my mind if I don't do this shit.
Right.
I am going to, and they come in waves. So if I don't do these things, then I get sick.
Right.
I get really sick if I don't do these things.
If you don't have this outlet.
If I don't have these outlets, I become a very sick human being in the sense of the amount of self-doubt, the amount of negativity, the amount of disillusion of what life could truly be just by just letting go and being happy.
Right.
If I don't bust that fucking nut.
Right.
If I don't do it, and I'm not saying sexually, as a metaphor.
Yeah.
I have to fucking do it. Now,
It's
making
like-
art to me is practice. So
it's
that's
compulsive, huh?
It's beyond compulsive. It's if I don't do it, I'll become unwell at
like
this
you're,
point.
Like you're, is it because you'll hyper focus on it and you can't get out of your head? It'll make you feel crazy if you don't get it off?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's about my own therapy, and it's about my engaging my own needs. And it just so happens that my needs are spraying a gang of fucking paint on ugly shit. And I don't know why, but it makes me happy. Like nothing else. Like I want to lick the wall or something. Like I come home feeling like an accomplished human being.
Right.
Like
And
I actually did something.
Nothing else does that for you.
I'm searching for those, and this is why I've been a problem.
Like doing a big painting it's not the same. It's not the same. Huh?
It'll never be the same.
It'll never be the same.
And the only thing the painting gives me is the practice of meditation when I do it.
You've tasted too much blood. That's the problem.
I've tasted too much blood.
Yeah. That's the problem with graffiti artists. Once you really get the taste of blood, you just never can stop.
Well, no, and two, it's also the act. So it's like in the sense that I could have a very, I could do a like repackaged, rebranded me,
right.
Yo, this is the new Saber.
Right.
And I could easily do that.
Yeah.
I have all this access, fan base, knowledge, all this shit, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how if I feel right with myself.
Right.
And if I don't do these things, if I don't do these practices, then I'm going to become potentially a bad person. And it's not because I want to be bad, but it's because I'm so dysfunctional.
Right.
Because I haven't dealt with all the shit that's necessary.
Have you ever done any like long-term psychotherapy, stuff like that?
And a few times I did therapy, they called the police on me.
What do you say?
So I said, motherfucker, now I want to beat your fucking ass. And now I'm all stressed the fuck out because you threatening to fucking call the police on me.
You shrink to call the
fuck
cops?
Fuck your ass, motherfucker. I'll choke you the fuck out. Dude, I was so mad at this fool. I said, are you serious? I can't even be honest with you, you piece of shit. And I'm not even talking about some nasty shit. I was like, fuck you.
That's a fucking betrayal of the.
Yeah, I wanted to choke him out. I wanted to choke my therapist out. I'm going to
sanctity.
choke my fucking therapist out, dude. I'm seriously, I was going to choke his ass out. I was really angry, dude. I was like,
yeah.
But
why did he want to call the cops on you?
It was so stupid too. I told him I smoked weed.
What the fuck? Are you
kidding
me?
He said, I know you do more drugs than that. And I said, why? And he said, because you say you have all these seizures. And I said, and everybody always accused me of being a meth head. So like even my house was raided recent, not that recent, but maybe 2 years ago. Because they accused me for child endangerment because they said I was smoking meth with my kids.
What?
Yeah. I was like, really? Where'd that come from?
Whoa.
They showed with guns blazing, everything.
Who the fuck?
Took us all out in the fucking street.
Search the house.
Searched the house. Me and old lady had to piss test.
What?
I was like, I even told him, I said, I smoked meth once when I was in high school. It was the best night of my life. I fucked this girl all night. It was the greatest night of my fucking life. I tried it again, and it was the worst night of my fucking life. I've cut everybody out I've ever known meth. in my fucking life. And they were like, no, you're smoking meth. We know it.
I mean, yeah, you definitely could give off some meth vibes.
Well, yeah,
with
the seizures, you know, and that's the problem. I was having so many seizures at that point.
Yeah.
That just one doctor didn't like me. He was just like, fuck you, for some reason. And,
again, I have to factor in, I got to say this, and I don't believe in this shit, but I got to say, maybe the worst run in luck in human history. Like, to have a shrink try to call the cops on you because you smoke. I told my shrink I smoked crack. Like, I could tell her I'm freshly like beat someone to smoke crack. And she'd be like, well, let's
I was just masturbating on the freeway. And they were like, okay, that's okay.
She would talk me through it. She would work through it with me. That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I was mad.
Then people thinking that you're on meth when you have a seizure and you have a physical condition and calling fucking Child Protective on you is like fucking
I've woken up in the ER naked I actually woke up naked in the ER last week and they pounded me with fucking morphine. Oh my God, they gave me holy shit. And it's because I came up clean. So they're like, of course he's clean. He fucking pound him. Send him home. And I had no clothes on because I had a seizure in the fucking shower. And so the ambulance had to get me. And I woke up in the ER. This is like, look, I still have the IV. This was a bad IV. They couldn't get me. And fucking, and so I wake up in the ER and I'm like straight, like, what's up, guys? Like straight naked. Like, it's a little cold in here. Like, dude, I woke up in county 3 different times in the hallway, butt naked. Balls hanging out, strapped too, like to the fucking, like actually strapped to the gurney with my balls to the wind. Numerous times, bro. I just
in county.
Just county. I have a long relationship with county, dude. They're the ones who treat me. They actually got me all this fucking shit. But in Pasadena, I go to Huntington. They always end up there. But,
wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. So, you, because of the nature of your violent seizures, right? You could be having a conversation with me. And then time travel to being in a hospital. Like, you don't even remember anything.
Gone.
So right now you could fish out.
Yes.
And then you're gonna wake up in the hospital.
Yes.
If you have seizures all the time, is there one place you go to more often than others? Like, or is it like, because like everyone's gonna do something different, or they all do the same thing? They just strap you down, and give you morphine. Like, what the fuck?
Well, no, it depends. Usually, what they have to do is stabilize you with the drug that they usually stabilize me with is Ativan.
Oh yeah.
Which just knocks your ass gone.
You're on some heavy opiates with that shit.
I'm on a lot of drugs every day. I'm on 6 tranquilizers a day.
How do you keep that in control without like abusing it?
No, I don't abuse. The drugs I'm on, I don't like at all.
Yeah, you don't like it. But you like weed so much.
That's how I deal with it.
Right, you smoke a gang.
I smoke a gang of motherfucking weed, bro. I smoke bong rips and tobacco all fucking day.
You do tobacco bong rips?
I do weed and tobacco, only indica. And this is very important for people. They should know that sativas and hybrids causes seizures.
Okay.
And people don't realize that. So there was a long time where I was smoking train wreck and fucking fishing out and not realizing that my condition was
you've been a stoner forever too, huh?
Long fucking time.
Forever. You've been heavy
since
in the
Crises
weed.
got me high at 805, dude, in like 9th grade.
Where's Crises at?
I heard he turned schizophrenic.
He's been schizo for a long time.
And showed up at Risky's house with no shoes on or some shit.
Yeah. It's interesting.
A lot of people went crazy.
A lot of writers had schizophrenia, which maybe who knows what that is.
And to be honest with you, right now with some real shit, what I'm dealing with, my mom went full blown schizophrenia this last 4 months.
Oh no.
And she's lost everything and now is completely not there and is completely gone and is in a home that costs $4,000 a month and I need to hustle. So all you motherfuckers out there, no, I'm not going to live that much longer, you assholes. So you better start cashing in on my shit now, you fucking
get in
clown
get on the ground floor of SABER, you guys.
Because it's gonna happen fast. So, but yeah, that's been a tough one, dude. That's been a tough one.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's been really hard.
Tough.
Just this morning, I was all morning dealing with it.
Fuck, that's terrible.
All last week dealing with it.
Watching your parents get old is hard, man.
One day she called me. She thought I was in her house, that I turned to stone meditating, and that I wouldn't move, and that she put the phone on the chair and started talking to me, and trying to feed me, and she thought I wouldn't leave. And that I would turn to stone.
She thought you were the chair?
Yeah, and then the lamp had no head. So there was this headless person that wouldn't leave her house for like 3 weeks. So that got pretty nasty.
Your dad's not around?
Yeah, he got killed by a drunk driver.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, he got ran the fuck over by a drunk driver. And that was it. That was the end
When
of
was that?
Fuck, I don't even remember now. 10 years ago?
Fuck.
Yeah. He moved to North Carolina, found a new wife,
Right.
which would be like the Nazi version of me as the son.
Right.
This dude wanted to murder my ass, dude, straight the fuck up.
Oh, your stepbrother?
Dude, I don't even know this dude. I don't even remember his name. And they were only together for like 3 weeks, and then he got ran over.
No fucking
That was it. And this fool was like, fuck you. I got ARs, and I clean these ARs, you piece of shit. Fuck your ass.
Why do you hate you?
Because we went there to go get what was left of my dad's shit, me and my half sister, and because he had some of our family's things. I'm like, and he was not happy, and he was like, "Fuck y'all, murder your ass, dude. If I had the chance right now, fuck your life."
Why?
He was just so mad that we came to his house and just took shit, and I was.
He didn't want you to take your dad's shit back.
Well, I don't really know what was going on, so I don't know what happened. I just. Took one. I got one painting. That was it. So all I got was one thing.
Your dad was an artist too.
Yeah, and my grandfather was too. He was I guess, Euclid Shook.
Euclid Shook.
My mom was one of the first, ladies at Art Center early on.
I think if you have an artistic inclination, you're fucked because it's because you kind of have to do it. Like if you're driven in that way. You kind of have to be an artist. Like no artist is going to stop and be like, I'm going to fucking join the IRS. Like you have to become an artist, right? And you have to pursue it to some length.
If you join the IRS and you become a deviant and you habitually like masturbate in the office, it's because you didn't engage yourself wanting to be an artist.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you don't scratch that itch, you go crazy. Yeah. And if you're so let's say you're scratching the itch and you're going to be an artist. Well, the reality is. It doesn't mean you're going to succeed in any way. There's no guarantees. I got to use the restroom real quick. One second.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay, a big chapter for myself is Echo Park. Echo Park is
Jesus
important.
Christ.
I lived in Echo Park for 10 years.
Oh, I forgot about that. You lived in Echo Park when it was still Echo Park.
And there were blocks on my house.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So then I had to leave Echo Park. And that was.
So what happened? Someone wrong with the locals or?
Yeah, I stabbed some kid and then trying to save this other kid's life.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows who I am, so I couldn't go anywhere. So I had to leave.
Oh, they all knew you were SABER.
Yeah. So I had to leave immediately.
Right.
So but I was there for 10 years.
Yeah. You were by the lake?
Right near the lake. I was right behind the Bank of America. And a funny story, fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers, Keaton, what's his name?
Kiedis. Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah. Kiedis doing the taxi jump up in the alley in the taxi in the video.
Yeah.
In that one song. I was right there and they were doing it. The production was right there. That was where I lived. So I came outside and then they pulled the trash can out because I had to move the trash can and production put sushi on the trash can. And then here's Anthony pulls up and his homie was one of Finn's homies. So he was like, "What's up, SABER?" And I'm like, "Whoa, how do you know me?" And he's like, "I'm friends with Finn." I'm like, "No shit." And then Anthony was like, "Yo, I know Mirror," or some weird shit.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Really? Okay, what's up?" And he's like, "I gotta take a piss." I'm like, "Okay." So he's like, "Where can I take a piss?" I was like, "Use my apartment." So we ran up real quick. We had to take a leak during that whole shoot, like during the taxi and everything. And then he saw the Belmont painting. And then as he like ran to go to my bathroom, I have that painting I did of Belmont. And then so he was like, "Oh shit, that's Belmont Tunnels." And then he ran out. It was funny.
That's hard.
This fool took a piss.
What
This fool took a
that?
piss in my house. He's jumping in the taxi.
Under the bridge downtown.
One of those
I
goddamn
saw a
songs.
SABER piece.
I don't know which one.
Dude.
But he was short.
Okay. All celebrities are short, apparently.
I recall that.
So let's talk. So yeah, the Echo Park years. I remember hearing about that. I mean, listen. The truth is, same as with GK. I could talk to you for 6 hours about we're just scratching the surface.
We're not even talking about anything.
We haven't even talked about anything. We haven't even actually talked.
We haven't even talked about
we talked about seizures for 45 minutes. Like we didn't even talk about like.
We could talk about art and like we could talk about.
There's so many things.
Process. We could talk about. We could talk about.
But we have a
marketing strategies. We could talk about.
Well, just historically,
politics,
the history of LA graffiti, right? As a subject.
Yeah, anything we could talk about.
There's a million things, but we have a limited window tonight. And the thing is this: I want to talk to you before we slow down here. I want to talk to you about the LA River piece, which is like that's like your most famous piece of work, right? By far,
yeah.
And you used to be able to see it from approach from LAX, right?
Yes, and it was one of the first pieces that of art that was seen from Google Earth.
The first piece of
So
art.
it was, I didn't know. I heard of Google Earth. I was like, "Can you see it from Google Earth?" And so I went in there and I was like, "Oh shit!" And zoomed in. It was like Google Earth. Yeah,
You're like, "Oh, this is real. I am real."
So then I could create the story and be like, "Hey, I'm the first to ever make a piece of art that would connect to the Google Earth." It's sort of bullshit, but it was my neighbor's computer, but I still did it.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, again, like another in a long history and career of like just gut-wrenchingly hard projects that you somehow muscled through.
Yeah.
I remember when you started painting it, I had a little Nissan Hardbody. It was my first vehicle. I remember I drove on the piece. I mean, I drove into
shit.
I drove
Were
on
you
the
with Chunk?
Huh?
Were you with Chunk at the time?
Might have been with Chunk. That does check. I might have been with Chunk. And I remember you were there. You're like, come by, and I come and I'm like driving on the sketch or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm driving on this dude's piece. Like it's so fucking big.
Yeah.
And I know that piece took you a year to do, right? Tell us about the piece.
A year. I guess I became obsessed with the LA River early on in the sense of its connection to LA and spending time down there at night. So I'd been in different locations many different times, and I always wanted to leave a mark in the LA River, knowing that it was important for me as LA, like just for my little thing, especially coming from Glendale and then leading to like, that whole area towards that way. So I just loved the LA River. So then Fate did a big piece with Chunk, but Fate that used the roller and use the gravity. And we were like, oh shit, you could spread it as opposed to paint it. And
spread it.
You could spread it. And
what do you mean? Like just pour it down the fucking bank?
It and spread it. And that way you're not like fucking
rolling forever.
Rolling. Yeah. And then you can't go that high. There's no way to do a piece that's like 40 feet high.
Right.
Like that. That was 75 feet or something high.
Right.
So then I had the epiphany. It was like, oh shit, you could roller. You got the little roller. You got the big roller. You got everything. You could do fades. You could do fucking cuts. You could do highlights. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Why haven't we done this yet?
Right.
I realized then once you started, like why like people didn't do it. And, Albert was the first to do it.
Right.
He was the first to do it. So I was like, well, I want to be the first to do like a wild style.
Right.
Using all these techniques. And so I didn't know what I was in for. I was doing it from Thousand Oaks. So I would drive in my car from Thousand Oaks all the way deep into the LA River. And then I would have to find different locations for different entry points. So which was interesting, was I was always maintaining different holes and fences. So what I would do, I would just lurk around the vicinities and maintain holes with bolt cutters. And there are other ones you pop the rivets, and the other ones so you can wiggle the ones, and you would know that one would be wiggled that you can use like as a door because you'd have a shirt attached to the razor wire on the top.
Right.
And then you just pop the rivets at the bottom.
Right.
And then that way you can use it as like a little door. Fucking one time Chunk and Phaeton chased me in the rivers. They drove down there.
Yeah.
And I ran from them, and they knew I was running from them because they thought it was like fucking, somebody trying to murder me and shit.
Right.
So I hopped the razor wire. I got all cut and shredded, and I'm like hooked in the razor wire, and they're fucking all pop out and start laughing at me in the fucking car. I'm like bloody. I had this huge hole in my hand. I was like, dude, and they were just laughing at me and just like, ha, we got you this time. Fucking, I had to learn how to steal really well.
Yeah.
Because I knew I needed to. Luckily, what I was stealing wasn't important to most people.
Yeah.
So if you steal 50 gallons of paint, most people aren't going to go missing.
No one thinks you're stealing 50 gallons of paint. Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to steal 50 gallons of paint.
Yeah.
When you're going about stealing 50 gallons of paint.
And how many gallons of paint did you I know you quantified that at one point.
97 then, but then I had to go back. And there's a secret to that nobody else knows that I don't know if I should let go because he told me not to say it, but it was so long ago that it doesn't really matter. And since then, a lot of people don't know if I've actually spoken to Jay. Like me and Jay have like talked. Like,
oh, really?
It's all good, dude. Like,
what's the secret?
Who helped me fix it?
No.
Somebody came here. Somebody came here
Wait,
and was like, "Get off your ass, you motherfucker, and let's go fix this shit."
I thought
and you're using oil base.
I thought you said JA helped you fix it. I was going to
say no, but someone else. And
he's the one that got you to fix it?
He was like, let's go, and you're going to do it my way.
No,
you're going to do it the way I tell you to do it.
Bleep it out. We got to bleep it. Make sure you bleep
But we don't know, though. It might be good.
No, you always got to bleep it. Always. Okay. Better safe than sorry. You don't want to blow the spot up.
He might be happy that we brought it up.
So he made you come fix it.
So he showed up, and had been a year. And so I was like really bummed, and life was really hard at the time. It was like 2008 or some shit. And I mean, God, the shit that was happening in my, So he showed up.
Wait, hold on. People don't understand what happened here. We're getting ahead.
Okay.
Let's talk about a year to finish it.
Okay. So this is a wild style piece.
Right.
Painted almost the scale of a football field, without being able to go backwards to look at the scale, number one.
Yeah, because you'd have to run.
Two,
you'd have to run in order to think
and you can't run backwards because you fall in the river and you'll.
It's on a bank, a slanted bank, which is like 30-degree slant, right? I'd say roughly 30-degree slant bank, which is the size of a fucking football field. Okay, if you put trains next to it, it's 3 train lengths,
something like that.
3 train lengths.
And those are the big ones. Those are the metro.
3 metro train lengths long. Okay, 30-degree angle. 70 feet tall football field.
Something like that.
So in order, and when you're painting a piece, you walk up to the wall, you paint, and you step back and you look.
Step back.
You're going back and forth all day.
You can't look at this thing.
You can't look. So you have to just figure it out. Because if you were to look at it, you'd have to run down the whole bank, go across the fucking LA River, and go even further. You have to go outside the fence.
You can't cross the river.
Right. You can't cross
the river.
It's
too slippery because
it's full of moss, human shit,
it's super
dead babies,
slippery.
all that shit.
And the minute you go into it, you slide. And one time I tried to save a guy and he pulled me in.
Yeah.
And I got caught in the current for over a mile. I couldn't get out.
Are you serious?
Because it was it wasn't even that high.
Again, another instance where your life, you've put your absolute physical life on the line so many times for this thing.
Yeah. It's like the blood of, but
so
the piece. So keep in mind,
just
to be able to scale it, meaning driving back from Thousand Oaks to the Hood, to East LA, to Boyle Heights, to then get through the razor wire on the opposite side of the meat factory that smelled like dead ass.
Yeah.
To then not get caught slipping by Boyle Heights, which at least 6 or 7 different times just to look at the piece to scale it, I got caught slipping by them and they were going to murder me right there.
Yeah.
So just to look at the piece, you can get killed.
Right.
Just to look at it.
And it could have looked like, at some point, it might have looked like gang blocks.
Well, yeah. And just to get the photo, I almost got my dad killed by Boyle Heights and he got chased. And and I had the car and he was running and it was fucking fabulous. And these dudes had fucking sticks and they were chasing him.
Did you ever have a reckoning with them where they were like, we like it?
I've had with some youngsters, where they were like, that was that. I've had quite a few youngsters be like, without that gave me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It gave me something to be like, well, I could add color as opposed to just the blocks, or a lot of their older brothers that were my age and older would push that off to them.
Yeah.
And be like, you should try to go do that. Because they knew going and painting and don't gangbang. Because it's over. At that point, it's over.
Yeah.
And these are real hoods. And I'm a fucking visitor. I'm nobody. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a fucking privileged ass piece of shit.
Yeah.
Vandalizing their fucking hoods.
Right.
So they should catch me slipping.
Right.
I deserve to get caught slipping.
Right.
Because my parents then would have bailed me out of fucking jail like they did.
Right.
And my parents weren't gangbanging. So it's like.
Yeah, you're talking about kids that are literally growing up by the river, the fucking LA River.
Yeah, this is real shit.
It's like, it's just dismal right there.
And I knew that I had to prove a point for myself in the sense of an adventure.
Yeah.
To be like, once I started, and I knew once I started, I had to finish it because everybody was watching me. The whole city was watching me.
Yeah.
So I had to fucking finish this thing. And God, I had
you blew out your shoulder,
blew out my knee,
you blew out your knee going up and down that slant,
up and down and that.
I mean, the toil you put on your body working on a slant, like just your back alone. I mean, it's fucking mind-boggling.
And the ground itself is not smooth. It's like fucking sand, really, really crazy sandpaper.
Yeah.
So if I would have to get flat paint, because it would dry a little faster, because anything that was glossy, the second your feet were wet, you would slide all the way fucking down. So there were a few times where I was at the top all by myself in the middle of nowhere, fucking lurkers in the distance, police helicopters, razor wire, and I'm by myself. And all of a sudden I'm painting and I just fucking slipped and I just slid all the way down the river and fucking just ate shit so many times. And I finally came to the conclusion that I had to paint flat patches of the paint. And then I could step on those and I would remember which colors were flat so that I could then walk on it when my feet were wet, because you couldn't avoid getting your feet wet.
Holy shit.
No matter what. So like I was like following the trail almost like a snail of which colors. Somehow then I remembered which colors were.
It's like the most dangerous game of Twister ever.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt, and Snake from Karate Kid 3.
Snake.
From Karate Kid 3.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the one who came and dissed it. And that's J.A., one of the most prolific, maniacal motherfuckers there is.
J.A. is a legend. So undoubtedly. Say what you want about the man.
Last dude I want to have fucking beef with is this fucking guy.
And the thing is, I remember when J.A. dissed it, and everyone's like, we're going to get him. I'm like, bro.
It's
J.A. This is his job.
Yeah.
This is what is you did the biggest piece in the world.
Yeah.
Well, you know what has to happen? J.A.'s got to diss it.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does.
That's what he does.
And everyone's like, we're gonna find him. I'm like, you're not gonna find this dude. He's a fucking.
He's dangerous.
Yeah. You're not gonna find him.
He's a lot more dangerous than I ever was.
Yeah.
And he's from a different generation too.
Different generation.
But yeah, eventually, like years later, 20 years later,